Hello everybody, so today I'm going to show you how to make ratatouille. This is one of our assessments for level 2. It's a really simple recipe, but basically it relies on you being precision with your vegetable cuts. So on the tray in front of me, you saw the original tray with all the vegetables whole. I've cut all the vegetables now, so I've cut the aubergines, the courgettes and the peppers into macédoine. I've diced the onion really sort of quite small. I've cut the tomato into concasse and I've crushed the garlic. I've also got some basil leaves, some thyme, a bit of balsamic vinegar, chopped tomatoes, a dessert spoon of tomato puree and half a lemon. So in front of me I've got a large saucepan, some people might call it a sauté pan. I'm starting to get it really warm, so it's ready to cook some of the vegetables. We're going to start off with really good amount of olive oil in there as well, so I'll get quite a bit in there so that it's just starting to get sort of hot. You can see the little bit of smoke coming off the top. That's perfect. And in there I'm going to cook the courgettes and the aubergine and the peppers. So we want to get some really nice colour on there if we can do. So we're just stewing them down and we're going to cook those for about 5 minutes, stirring all the time so that they get evenly cooked. So onto the heat, and then just using a high heat spatula, I'm just going to cook those, as I said, moving them all the time for about 5 minutes. Now if you find during the frying process that the pan goes dry, because aubergines and courgettes soak up quite a bit of oil, just simply put a little bit more oil in there and you can see that it carries on frying just nicely. And you might have to keep on doing that throughout the 5 minutes when you're stirring them and frying them. So once all the vegetables are cooked quite nicely, a little bit of colour on there as well, I'm going to simply take them out of the pan. Just make sure you get them all out. Scrape them into a separate bowl, and then we're going to put a touch more olive oil in the pan, a little bit more in there, and then we're going to pop our onions in there. Be careful not to get too much colour on them because they go really bitter if you burn them. So just turn down the heat ever so slightly, and we're just going to cook those gently for about 5 minutes. Also in there as well, I'm going to put some thyme leaves. So just one sprig of thyme. I'm just going to peel those leaves off the sprig so that they just give a little bit more flavour to the onions as well. So once we've got onions cooked, they've been on there for about 5 minutes, we're going to pop the aubergine, courgette and red pepper back into the pan. Give it a good stir around, make sure it's mixed in really well. I'm just going to turn the heat down ever so slightly. And we're also going to pop into there our chopped tomatoes, our fresh tomatoes which I've cut into concasse as I said before, and then we've got some tomato puree as well. Stir it all in, make sure it's all really evenly incorporated, and then I'm going to put in also some balsamic vinegar, which is going to add a little bit of sweetness in there. So a touch of balsamic vinegar, and I'm just going to let this cook over a really gentle heat, probably for about 5, maybe 10 more minutes, just stirring it gently all the time. So this has been cooking on the heat now, probably for about 15 minutes, so it's stewed down really nicely. It's dried up as well, so it's not really wet at all. You can see that it's sort of quite substantial. And then just to finish this off, I'm going to put in the zest of about half a lemon. So just using this fine side of the grater there, or you could use a microplane if you had one. We're just going to take off the zest, that's just the yellow part of the lemon. And this is just going to give us a real nice sharpness to this ratatouille, just to finish it. So this has been cooking on the stove now probably for about 15 minutes, and you can see it's stewed down really nicely. It's not too wet. As it's been cooking, there's quite a lot of moisture evaporated, so it's started to dry up quite nicely. Just to finish off now, we're going to use some lemon. I'm using this side of the zester here, or the grater, or you could use a microplane. I'm just going to really carefully add the zest for about half a lemon. So it's just the yellow part of the lemon really. It's just going to give the ratatouille a nice bit of sharpness just to finish off. Okay, give it a really good tap. And then there's a couple of other things need to go in there as well. We did have some basil leaves on our original recipe, if you remember. All I'm going to do with these is just tear them up quite roughly. They could just go in, just add a little bit of extra flavour at the end, and just keeping the stalk out as well. So it's just the leaf that we want in there. And once we've got all the basil leaves in, then I'm going to stir all this mixture together, and we're going to taste it for one last time before we season it. Really important that we taste everything that we're going to serve to either our customers or to our assessor. It's important that we just have a little taste, make sure that it's seasoned correctly before we present anything. So always carry a little spoon for tasting, touch out, a little bit of a taste, and then we're just going to put a really good sprinkle of black pepper and also some salt as well. Okay, not overboard with the salt, just a really nice sprinkle, and then stir it back in, and then that should be just about ready to serve. So we've seasoned this up now, added a little bit more salt and pepper. I've also added a touch more balsamic vinegar, to be honest. I thought it just needed a bit more sharpness. And to serve that, we're going to serve it as sort of a side dish to a main course. A really good amount. You know, we want to be generous with that. So no particular fancy presentation, just quite simply, just a little bit of green garnish on top of there. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for really precision cuts, really good flavour, and a really nicely stewed vegetable dish presented well.